What's going on, everyone? My name is Joseph Reynolds, and today joining me is a man that on the UK scene you're all familiar with by now, making his PFL Europe debut against Dylan 2 in Berlin in Germany. Connor Hughes, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Joe. I'm good. Nice to see you again, lad.
It's an absolute pleasure as always, and not too far removed since your last win on UKFC. Obviously, getting that experience against those sort of opponents as well, getting those 3 rounds in. How important do you feel that was to get those 3 rounds instead of the quick finishes that you've been sort of used to during your pro career so far?
Yeah, I think it was definitely needed. Coming into PFL, I think it only done me good that I got a solid 3 rounds in the bank there, and like through me UK pro scene, I've been taking opponents up each notch and trying to get better each fight. But I think I definitely needed them 3 rounds of experience for sure.
Yeah, and now sort of moving into obviously PFL Europe, the media attention there in the UK was sort of there for you anyway, but to step into this whole new world of MMA, really, there's a lot more things
Yeah.
to do in terms of media attention, the bigger venues, all these different things. How has that sort of been adjusting to it, and how excited does that sort of make you feel for the future that you do have with the PFL?
It's obviously a big difference, you know what I mean? Like the magnitude of the media and stuff like that, it's a whole different ball game. But I think I'm getting used to it. I think I'm getting better at it. Obviously, it's a big step up. I've only got big plans going forward from here now, so it's something I'm going to have to get used to, isn't it?
Yeah, and then sort of taking a look at the fight that you have got coming up in terms of being against Dylan 2, looking at that fight and how you sort of see it going, what do you sort of see coming up in this fight?
I think Tuke's a really good opponent for me. Tuke's quite known throughout the MMA world, and to be honest, I feel like this fight kind of works into my favor. I feel I'm gonna go straight through him, Joe. If I'm honest, I think I'm gonna be a presence in there, and I've heard things of like he thinks I'm untested and stuff like that. So I think we'll see once we're in there. We'll see who's been tested enough, eh? But I think I'm going to go straight through him. I think I've got the tools and weapons to get him out of there.
Yeah, and when you do start to get sort of closer to fight night in terms of, you mentioned there, looking to make that sort of big statement and go through him, does it sort of make you feel even more excited knowing the fact that you can go in there and make a statement on the big stage? And when you do get closer, do you start to visualize sort of the outcome a little bit more, or how does that sort of mindset change when you do get closer to a fight?
Yeah, of course. Whenever I get closer to the fight, especially like the last 4 weeks of fight camp, I have this. I just get colder as the fight gets closer. Me intentions to want to actually put it on someone and hurt somebody, they grow. You know what I mean? Like I can feel myself getting more cold to the situation and realizing what's at stake. And you know, this year, every year for me feels like it's the biggest fight of my life. And going forward, I'm here to make my mark. I'm here to make a statement, and I'm here to stay. So this first fight especially, but these 3 fights for me is it's what's going to determine the longevity of this whole thing, I think.
Yeah, and when you are going into this fight, obviously there's more pressure than what might be on you beforehand, but do you feel as though having that added pressure has been a benefit for you? And how has that sort of made the preparation for this fight maybe a bit different to when you're preparing for a fight in UKFC, which is a show you know more than most will do at this point?
Honestly, Joe, I don't really feel the pressure, to be honest. I kind of, I know obviously it's a step up and there's things at stake, but I do honestly feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and I feel like this is my moment. I don't feel like I've just got a random call up and there's an opportunity here. Like I feel like all this is meant for me. So I'm not really feeling the pressure. What I am feeling is I'm finally feeling like I'm getting to be somewhere I deserve. I've made it through the amateur career. I've made it through the first couple of steps up pro. I do honestly feel like I'm meant to be here right now, and I think on July 8th, that's exactly what you're going to see.
Yeah, and as well, in terms of sort of preparing for the fight, obviously, you've been a big part of the rise of sort of Liverpool in MMA, especially on the regional scene, and now even taking those steps up, seeing a lot of them get signed to other major promotions as well. But to be a big part of that and to be a part of this future generation that's going to come through and be a big part of it. How do you sort of feel to get to represent Liverpool and do all these big things on these big stages?
It's a proud thing for me, massive thing. Like, to be the first guy from Liverpool who's actually signed to PFL, who's making a run at the tournament. And like you said, like, I'm the guy that's going to open the doors up for the likes of the other prospects, the younger prospects coming through. So it's a big thing. It's massive, to represent my city, the country, everything. I can't wait to show what I'm about and show what UK MMA and Liverpool MMA is actually about.
Yeah, and then as well, obviously, in terms of sort of seeing the rise that you had, a lot of your pro fights were on UKFC, and to have those sort of platforms that we do have now in this country with the different promotions like FCC, UKFC, AFC, to have these shows that can supply good opponents on top good shows as well, what does that do for a fighter's sort of development, and how pivotal is that to sort of the success of the next generation of fighters that does come through?
I think you're seeing it throughout the MMA circuit, aren't you? Like, if you look 10 years ago to UK MMA to now, the difference in that on its own is huge. Like, we know the talent's coming up, you know what I mean? We know who's coming up through the UK ranks. And to look back at, like, there's people who I trained with at the start who didn't even have the opportunity to have an amateur career. They literally, it was pretty much just pro from the get-go. And now you're seeing, you've got the UK circuits, you've got the IMAFs now, you've got all these things that are like building these fighters up. And then by the time they turn pro, like, there's amateurs in my gym who are doing professional fight camps, professional weight cuts. They're doing all these things before they even get there. So when they actually get there as a pro, it's not even new to them. You know what I mean? They're kind of used to it. There's just a few slight adjustments. But I think you're going to see over the next couple of years how big UK MMA actually is.
100%. And then in terms of sort of looking at this fight, you touched on it a little bit ago in terms of running through him, but if you could sort of visualize the perfect way that this fight goes, obviously not everything goes the way you expect in a fight, but what is this way this fight goes and how do you want this fight to look?
I just want to show how good I am, to be honest, Joe. I want to completely outclass him. I want to kind of prove that I'm the winner in this tournament. I'm the one who's coming through. I'm the one who's going to be winning that 100 grand. And it is a statement making fight. I think his style works to my style. I'm excited to get in there. I'm really excited to showcase that I belong where I am. And I do see this fight going out as a stoppage win. I don't see it going the distance. I think he's tricky in some areas. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going in there with not underestimating him at all. But I think he's got a couple of tricky things he does. But I think I've got a lot of tricky things that I do. Just the timing that I have and the precision that I have. I do feel that it's different to a lot of other fighters. I think it's very rare that you see another fighter with the same sort of timing that I have. And I think that's going to be a key factor in this fight. Yeah,
and then even sort of taking a look, you mentioned there with the €100,000 or pounds, I can't remember which currency it's in, but to see that that's on the line there and know that that's at the end as well, how exciting is that to look at still really early into your pro career to already have those big opportunities in front of you?
Exactly. Like, I've not even been a professional for 2 years yet, and 3 fights away from making 100 grand. It's gonna help change my life, and then after this we'll see what happens next, whether it's another 100 grand or $1 million. But I couldn't have picked a better promotion to go into straight off the bat, really, and to one, platform wise, and two, to actually make that sort of money this early in my career. It's kind of unheard of. So I'm excited. I'm excited to perform. I'm excited to show what I can do, and I cannot wait to get in there.
And then the final thing from myself is for the fans that are yet to hear the name Conor Hughes, what is it that they can expect to see in this fight, and then even beyond that as well for your journey with the PFL?
Well, what I will say is, if you lot don't know, then by July 8th, you will know who I am.
100%. Well, that's everything from myself. If you'd like to take a chance, share any sponsors, anything like that, obviously feel free to go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, shout out to more cross solicitors, Paradise Travel, Ian Taylor, Taylor Technique, official 411, iGuard Security, and to my team, the MMA Academy, head coach Jason Tan, Lodge Fitz, Peter Davis, and just to all the team at the Academy.
There we go. Well, I appreciate your time as always. Obviously, the man said it himself. If you don't know him now, July 8th, you're gonna. And I have to agree with that statement 100%. As always, a pleasure to speak to you, buddy. Thank you very much.
You too, Joe. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it, mate.
Pleasure. See you later. Bye-bye.